But let's start tonight with a question we're all asking. Who will win the federal election? And could Peter Dutton actually get there? Well, it's now a live possibility that Dutton will be the next Prime Minister of Australia and that Albanese will make history, not in the way he wants, not with a legacy-defining, nation-changing, transformative agenda, but he could make history by being the first Prime Minister in nearly a century to lose government after just one term. We know that the polls say that it's neck and neck, but Dutton does have a very good chance of winning, and here's why. At the last election, when Albanese won, Labor's primary vote was a historic low of just 33%, the lowest in the history of the Labor Party. And that's when Albanese campaigned heavily on cost of living, and he pledged that all areas of life would be more affordable.
Cost of living increases, cost of living pressures, cost of living, the cost of living, cost of everything, cost of living issues. Bear in mind the cost of living pressures.
Well, they were the Mount Everest of broken promises, and Australians know it. Voters feel on a daily basis that life is more expensive. Every transaction at the supermarket or the local shops, well, there's the shock at just how much basic items now cost. You never get used to paying $5 or more for a coffee or $9 for grated cheese. This is the cost of living crisis that Albanese pledged to solve, but has only worsened under his watch. So if Labor's vote was 33% before Albanese's broken promises, well, I can tell you Labor heavyweights are shuddering when they think what it will be now. Now, the coalition was left with just 58 or 59 seats after the last election. So to win majority government, which is 76 seats, Dutton needs to pick up between 17 and 19 seats. And that's because of the Aston by-election and a couple of other redistributions. So this is a huge ask, but it's not impossible. Tony Abbott won 18 seats in 2013 after the chaos of the Rudd-Gillard-Rudd era. Rudd won 23 seats against John Howard in 2007, and Labor went into that election holding just 60 seats, so not too dissimilar to the coalitions now. And yet, under Rudd, Labor was returned to government with 83 seats. That was a landslide that Rudd wasted. And John Howard's win before that was even larger. He picked up 29 seats when he took office in 1996 against Paul Keating. So yes, Peter Dutton trying to win between 17 and 19 seats is a lot for sure, but it's not unprecedented. Although it would be virtually unprecedented after a first term in office. But there are compelling reasons why this is looking achievable. Support for Albanese has crashed. The Herald's Resolve Political Monitor shows his net likability has dropped from a honeymoon high of 34% to -17%. And some research suggests he's now as unpopular as Scott Morrison was ahead of the last election. And this is a reflection of his multitude of broken promises and his weakness as PM. Now, Albanese returned to power, he returned Labor to power after 9 years, a long time in the wilderness. But then you have to look at what has he actually done in office. As Peter Dutton said yesterday, well, Albanese doesn't appear to have any legacy to speak of.
What has the government achieved over the course of the last 3 years? If they'd achieved anything, that he wouldn't have to resort daily to the personal attacks on me and my colleagues.
Albanese's big move that was meant to define his legacy, the voice to Parliament, it only divided our country. And he further divided our country with his government's obsession with criticising Israel, which has only contributed to a terrifying rise in racism against Jews. Personally, Albanese has also shown Australians who he truly is. Weak, ineffective, not very intelligent, certainly never the smartest person in any room. He's not across the detail. He's unable to exercise authority over his own cabinet. You look at ministers like Tony Burke, Penny Wong, or Tanya Plibersek. And I can also tell you that aside from the polls, many seasoned and high-profile political analysts have privately told me that they form the opinion that Dutton will win the next election. And if Albanese does make history and loses after just one term in office, he'll go down as one of the worst prime ministers in Australia's history. He's squandered the time and hasn't done a single thing to make our country a better place.